Calendula, a sassy early blooming flower that is known for being a little bit stubborn and a little bit of a hassle. So is this early spring beauty worth the headaches? Let's get into it. So let's just get this awkward cat out of the bag, okay? Because for the last 2 to 3 years, I have been saying no more calendula in my garden. I don't want it. But in my last video where I gave my April to May garden update, I straight up said that the calendula was my favorite thing blooming in the garden. I have a very complicated relationship with calendula. So calendula, also known as potted marigolds, are an annual. And if you live in zones 6 to 10, where your winters are a little bit more mild to moderately cold, they are a hardy, ferocious, self-seeding annual. If you live in zones 3 through 5, I don't think that you would have much luck with them self-seeding and coming back every year, unless maybe you insulate your gardens before all the snow and those colder temps start to like really set in. Let me know though, if you live in some of those colder zones, how your calendula does for you. If it comes back, if you have to insulate, if you just don't even deal with it, I would love to know. I garden in zone 9A, and while I have not intentionally planted calendula in the last like 3 or so years, it's routinely in my garden. And it's really just kind of like spreading its wings, populating all the garden beds near and far, regardless of if it started out in that bed or not. It's moving in, and it's not necessarily a terrible thing. It's obviously very easy to grow. It just sort of comes back on its own. It's cheerful, it's bright, it flowers from early spring to your first frost. It's edible, it has like herbal, medicinal properties. You can add it to salads, your baked goods, teas. It's a phenomenal companion plant, and it attracts so many like beneficial insects, predator insects like lacewings and hoverflies. You know, those bugs that you want in your garden so that they'll kind of eat all the like bad bugs. It grows best in full sun, so that's usually like 6+ hours of like full direct sunlight. Well draining soil, but honestly, calendula will thrive in like any type of soil. I think it just thrives everywhere. It's also one of those plants that, depending on your zone, if you want to direct sow it, you can either direct sow after your first frost in the springtime. Blah, 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 blah. Let me say that again. You can either direct sow it before your first frost in the fall and let it kind of overwinter, or you can direct sow it in the spring after your last frost. You can also start it indoors about 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost. It's usually pretty quick to germinate. Depending on like temperatures, it'll take anywhere between like 5 to 15 days, which is really nice for an impatient person like me. I like to know that my plants they're germinating and they're healthy and they're gonna grow. I get a little bit anxious when working with slow germinators. Personal problem. And then your established plants are like fairly drought tolerant. So they'll thrive in any type of soil, don't have a lot of watering needs. They're pretty easy to manage and care for. There are 3 different types of calendula that I have personally grown. The variety called Green Heart, the Bronzed Beauty, and the Pacific Mix. I cut a few of them to show you. So it's this like very classic orange. There's also some little cosmos in here because, spoilers, I am doing my next flower focus on cosmos. So I just wanted to cut a few so I could show you. I'm growing all new varieties of cosmos this year. I don't have any of my previous varieties, which I'm hoping is not going to upset me because I love the Cosmo Rubenza. That's my favorite Cosmo. I did not plant any of them. I was kind of hoping that this like double click cranberry would steal my heart. Jury's still out, but stay tuned if you're interested. Flower focus for Cosmos is coming soon. But back to calendula, this very like classic bright orange calendula is my favorite. I initially grew a lot of the bronzed beauty. I saw pictures of them online and I was like, say less. I am planting so many of those. They're so beautiful. I love the color. I planted them and I just like was not as excited about them as I thought I was gonna be. They are very pretty. The blooms on the plants like kind of stay like half curled, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I did read somewhere that some varieties of calendula kind of like close up right before it rains. So they actually act as like this little like living flower barometer, which is kind of cool. Okay, and I do live in the Pacific Northwest. So maybe my bronzed beauties are just constantly anticipating the inevitable wetness that is coming to my garden. But yeah, so I don't really grow any more bronze beauties. There are a few popping up in my garden because again, I can't get rid of them. And while they are a plant that I don't necessarily feel bad pulling out of my garden, because it like pains me a little bit to like thin out healthy plants that come back after the winter. Calendula is not one that I feel super sad about. I will pull it out of there because I know that they're just gonna keep coming and they kind of take over. In this garden bed with this calendula right now, I have zinnias planted in there. You can't really tell because they're being like hidden. And I think that it's like stunting their growth. They're not getting as much sunlight as they need. They're not very tall right now. I might have to go in there and remove some of the calendula. I might put it in a pot, okay? I might not just get rid of it completely, kill it. But I think I need to remove some of it from that garden because I really, really, really want my zinnias to be healthy and to grow tall, and it hasn't gotten super warm yet, like consistently. But I think the calendula might be affecting their growth. So we'll see. What's the verdict on calendula? Look, I'm gonna be honest. This is one of my favorite things blooming right now in my garden, but not a lot is blooming at this point in the garden, right? I love the super vibrant, punchy orange. I think it's so pretty. It makes me like just excited inside and like anticipate summer even more. I don't know, you guys. I am not the biggest calendula fan, I think. I don't know. I think that maybe if it was completely eradicated from my garden, if I went like a year or two without seeing its pretty little face, I might start to miss it. And I might be like, hey, we should add calendula to the garden this year. What fun would that be? We can make teas and salads and enjoy this beautiful orange. But the truth is, I don't know life without it. It's always there. We're familiar friends. I can't get rid of it. I never want it in my garden. I don't hate it when it's there. That's just what it is when it comes to cut flowers. If I had less space, right? Because like I don't have a ton of space in my garden already, but if I had less space and I had to make some like hard decisions, hard cuts about what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to like not grow at all, I think that before I would choose calendula, if I wanted a perennial, something that would come back every year for me, I would choose Rudbeckia. If I wanted an annual, something that I needed to like seed or start indoors, I would choose zinnias. I wouldn't choose calendula. But that's just me and my garden. If you are looking for like an early bloomer, something that self-seeds, is very low maintenance, has a really beautiful color. You can use it in your veggie garden. It's edible, it's a companion plant. This might be the perfect flower for your garden. It's not the perfect flower for my garden. I would love to hear from you though if you are a calendula lover. Let me know if you had to pick between Rudbeckia, zinnias, and calendula, because they all kind of fall into that same category for me. It's like zinnias, there's like a lot of different sizes, but let's just say for like argument's sake, we're talking about like the medium varieties. So like the Queenie series. If you had to pick between the Rudbeckia, the zinnias, and Calendula, what's your favorite? Let me know down in the comments. Okay, because she's hooked her roots inside of me, inside my garden, and she's trying to slowly change my mind. I don't know if it's working. But that's all I have for you today. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one.